bringing you information based in fact and science concerning today's marijuana. I'm your host, Chris Wolf, and this is Perspectives. With us today is a subject matter expert from the National Marijuana Initiative, sharing their perspective on the influence that today's more potent forms of marijuana products are having, both in our society and in their field of expertise. Today we'd like to welcome our guest, Dale Quigley. Dale is the Deputy Coordinator for the National Marijuana Initiative. Welcome, Dale.
Thank you, Chris.
Dale, has legalization had any impact on highway safety?
It has, Chris. There's still so many people that think that they're a safer driver or a better driver after consuming marijuana versus, let's say, alcohol. And that's simply just not the truth. You know, we have to understand that impairment by alcohol, impairment by marijuana, it doesn't matter. Impaired means impaired, and an impaired driver is a dangerous driver. When we look at data from the state of Colorado, since marijuana was legalized for the adult consumption in what we call the rec market in some places, the rate of fatal collisions in that state have gone up over 40%. And when we break that number down even further, we look at the number of drivers in those fatal collisions that are testing positive for marijuana are up over 90%. So we can see that, you know, there's a problem there. And I'm not saying that marijuana causes these collisions, but what I am saying is this: the increased presence and the increased prevalence of marijuana in our society, our communities, and in our driving public, we have to take a look at this. Is legalization becoming a contributing factor to these accidents? So again, marijuana is impairing, alcohol is impairing. It doesn't matter what it is. Impaired is impaired, and an impaired driver is a dangerous driver.
Dale, can you maybe talk about or describe an example of what you would consider to be effective marijuana regulation?
You know, some would say, Chris, that using the term effective regulation is an oxymoron like jumbo shrimp. You know, we have 30 states doing things 30 different ways. Nobody's tracking the data the same. Nobody's reporting the data the same. So when it gets down to it, there is no one single model of regulation that is accepted as being globally effective in reducing the potential harms that come from the use of marijuana and legalization. We look at the use rates in our adult population. They have continued to go up. We look at the potency levels in the products available on the open market, and they have continued to skyrocket to historic levels. When we look at our youth that go into substance use disorder counseling sessions, the number one reason for 12 to 17-year-olds going into drug treatment, cannabis use disorders. We've seen the presence of marijuana increasing in highway safety issues. The increased potency is causing unknown effects in terms of mental outcomes like psychosis. And the bottom line being is we're always told how much money the state is going to make after legalizing it, but nobody's really tracking the data. When it comes to effective regulation, there really is no model that's effective 100%.
Dale, has there been any benefits from legalizing marijuana?
While some say there isn't and want to be all doom and gloom about it, I'll take a different position on it. I think there has been. Out of all the drugs we have in our pharmacopoeia in this country, there's been so much misinformation and disinformation about marijuana, it's hard for the average person to know what the truth is. When I see the benefits I see the benefits as people are asking better questions. And more importantly, they're demanding better answers that are based in science and research, not rhetoric or things that we have heard over the course of 30 and 40 years. The other benefit we have is that we have increased research on today's marijuana. And I say today's marijuana because it goes back to potency. The potency levels that we are dealing with in this country, we have never seen before. So we need to understand what the effects of that drug is on us, not only as an individual, but also on a nation. So from that position, yeah, I'd say there are some benefits.
Dale, you are always an absolutely wonderful guest. Please agree to come back, and thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. To learn more facts about today's marijuana and its impacts, visit the National Marijuana Initiative's website at www.thenmi.org. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Perspectives.